So welcome to the KU GSIS Open House. I am Cuz Potter, the Associate Dean of GSIS, and I apologize if my voice is a little raspy, scratchy. I've just been teaching for an hour and a half, and I'm healthy, but I had COVID a couple of weeks ago, and my voice hasn't quite caught up here. So it gets raspy easy. So let me move on to welcoming you and thanking you for your interest in our program. We do hope to see you next semester at any rate. And so what we will do here today, in the next hour to hour and a half, is learn how the clicker works, for one. There we go. Something about the Zoom screen share there. First, this is not quite the complete agenda here. We will ask the dean to welcome you, and then I will talk about why you might want to do international studies here, what other opportunities you can have. And a number of our faculty will share with you what you can learn here. And then we'll talk about some of those technical issues like how do you pay for it, who do you get to meet, and what happens after you get your degree. But first, let me turn it over to Dean Moonsung Kang to welcome you to our meeting today.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Moonsung Kang, Dean of GSIS Graduate School of International Studies here at Korea University. Welcome to the open house of KU GSIS. First of all, let me congratulate all of you for taking this step towards advancing your educational and professional careers. Pursuing a graduate degree is significant investment of your time and the efforts, resources, but the rewards will be really immeasurable. At the GSIS, we are committed to providing our students with a transformative educational experience that prepares them to become leaders in the global community. Our distinguished faculty members bring a wealth of experience and expertise from diverse fields such as international development cooperation, international commerce, peace and security, regional studies, and also, Korean studies. Our curriculum is designed to provide students with a comprehensive understanding of the complex issues right now facing our world today, such as global governance, the security issues in Ukraine, the sustainable development goals, global value chains, digital trade, climate change, and conflict resolutions, and so on. Later on, Associate Dean and other professors will provide a lot of information on our program. I think, I want you to take this opportunity to learn more about our programs. And, we have a vibrant community of students from around the world. Definitely, this creates a dynamic learning environment to foster collaboration, innovation, and critical thinking. I encourage you to take this opportunity of this open house to speak with our faculty members and current students and explore our campus. In conclusion, I'd like to thank all of you for considering our programs as your next, educational destination. So once again, welcome to the open house of KU GSIS. Thank you.
Well, that about covers it. I guess we're done. I couldn't do a better introduction myself, but I will try to add some detail along the way, and along with help from my colleagues here. And let me say at the outset two things. One is that we've tried to do as much as we can to put all of this information on our website. So, please, if you have additional questions, we're happy to answer them today or by email or what have you. But we really have tried to put lots of details on our website. So if you do have questions, do consider looking there for that information. Second, we did get a number of questions from participants, and I will try to address those along the way. And if I miss them, I'll try to touch on them at the end. But if I neglect them, feel free to ask again at the end. There's a lot of concerns along the way, a lot of material to cover. So why international studies? The world is unpredictable, it's uncertain, things are falling and breaking down all of the time. So we need people who are able to address these issues, right? We know we've got international geopolitical conflict that seems to be increasing at a faster rate. We've got climate change causing enormous disasters. If it's not flooding, it's fires. We've been fighting coronavirus, some of us more recently than others. I managed 2 years, and then, everybody's getting over it, and then I got to catch it, right? We got artificial intelligence that's transforming the way that the world works and the way that probably you will do your schoolwork even when you're here. So the world is changing incredibly fast and on a large scale. And therefore, if we're going to face these challenges, we need new professionals who are able to critically and ethically evaluate these challenges, that have their own expertise that they can contribute, but also have the broad understanding of other disciplines that allow them to both communicate across those specializations and integrate these disparate views and specialized knowledges. Every problem we face now is so multidimensional that a single expertise is not sufficient to address it. We need to have professionals who are capable of understanding the wide range of aspects of a problem in order to come up with a comprehensive solution. And that's a lot of what our program is trying to do for you. And so how can we, what do we have to offer you in doing that? One, we have a very international program that is that allows you to tailor your own professional development. I'll talk more about this later on, but each of you, of course, curates your own curriculum, and we give you a fair degree of flexibility there. All of our classes are taught in English, and students come from around the world. I need to update this map, but it's approximately correct. We have about 370 students now from 62 countries. 60% of those students are international students, and about 40% are Korean. And I think that's roughly the gender balance as well in favor of women. So the educational background of the students, at least as of a year ago, show that our students come from a wide range of backgrounds, right? There's no, while certain majors may make it easier to understand some of our courses, The major point here is that if you haven't done economics or you haven't done political science, there is still a lot of room for you and still successful roads to develop your career here. We try to help you build those skills that you might be missing and help you capitalize on the ones that you do have. So don't worry about it if you're not, specifically in one of the fields that we specialize in. And in part, it's okay because we have a really wide range of expertise. Our program covers political science, it covers international relations, international commerce and economics, development, human rights, environment, urban planning, global conflict. We cover a huge range of topics through roughly 50 lectures a semester, and with, at present, 22 full-time faculty. We also have a number of events going on a regular basis. I was going to update this a little bit more, but Instagram and all these places don't allow you to right-click and save the image. So I was unable to update these very much. But we have opportunities to learn about possible careers, to look into political conflicts, economic strategies, development questions. We've had people from UN agencies, many last semester, international faculty from other universities coming, ambassadors, et cetera, et cetera. We've got a lot of other opportunities here to learn outside of the classroom. And so those are sometimes the most interesting and most effective lectures that you can attend. So if you do come here, as we hope you will, I strongly encourage you to try to go to these lectures, right? Nobody gives you a grade, so there's no pressure. It's awesome. You don't have to perform. You can just enjoy the lecture. So building on that, what can you learn here at KUGSIS? First of all, again, as I said, we have a kind of customizable curriculum. Our major tracks at the moment are international commerce, international development and cooperation, international peace and security, area studies, and Korean studies. And you can switch, you don't have to choose until your third semester, and you can switch between them along the way, as long as you do the coursework. Let me put one note out for the question about area studies at this time. If you choose to do area studies, then you actually choose just one region of the world. You don't choose to do all of the regions of the world. You just choose the one. Although my personal recommendation would be to fold area studies into one of the other disciplines personally. And look at a particular region of the world through one of the other lenses that we offer. Because you have to take area studies classes anyway. And more on that soon. At the PhD level, we have an international commerce degree and international relations degree, which at present encompasses international peace and security and international development and cooperation. We're looking at reforming this a little bit, hopefully to create a Korean Studies PhD and a development PhD. But that has a lot of administrative hurdles to go through before that happens, but it's on the horizon. And then we have a number of dual degree programs and special programs that I'll talk about later on. We offer both thesis and non-thesis tracks. So you can get your degree without writing a thesis and by taking just an extra couple of classes. Personally, I, again, do not recommend this. I recognize that it can be an attractive option, but I would strongly suggest for your long-term career interests that you actually choose the thesis track. And if you choose to join BK21, you have to choose that track, and more on that another time. But the key with the strong point about writing a thesis is that it gives you a lot of the skills professional skills that you need to conduct research, to come up with questions, to pioneer new research, perhaps to do interviews, and to write some sort of large report, which is the kinds of things that you are likely to have to do in your future career. Not only that, but the thesis track also gives you a chance to specialize on what makes your interests unique, right? No matter, of course you're going to choose our program, but no matter what program you choose, it's very unlikely that you will ever find a professor who does exactly what you want to do. And so, and what you want to do is the most important thing. But I can promise you that we have professors here who can help you do what you want to do in a thesis, and that you should use the thesis as a tool for focusing on your own interests and developing your own specialization. So in essence, it's to say that writing a thesis is one of the best ways to distinguish yourself as having a strong specialized focus on a particular topic or concern. And so I strongly recommend that, but you don't have to do it. If you do, your coursework looks something like this. I don't want to go too deeply into it right now. I want to just highlight a couple of things. One is that you have to do research methods and write your thesis. But the key here, and this is part of what we have done to try to help yourselves tailor your education, is that you have to choose 3 of these 4 core classes. International business, economics, politics, or development. And that's because we see all of these as interwoven, but we know that as individuals with your unique interests, maybe for what you're going to do, you don't need international business, or you don't need international development specialization. And so we allow you to choose just 3 of those 4 as your core requirement. In addition to that, you have to take a number of courses in the track that you choose, which again, you decide on in your 3rd semester. You have to take a couple of area studies classes to show that you do have a sort of concentration on a particular region of the world. And then, as if 50 courses that we offer are not enough, other universities offer different classes, and other programs, graduate programs, offer other classes that you might want to take advantage of. So at present, you are able to take up to 3 credits, basically 1 course at another graduate school of international studies in Korea. So that includes at least Seoul National, Yonsei, Wayday, the foreign language school, and Kyunghee University, and others. You can also take up to 6 credits from other KU graduate programs, but they have to be in English. I recognize, and we recognize, that some people may have advanced Korean ability, and particularly if you're doing Korean studies, you might want to take classes in Korean, but part of the way that our program is structured, we are not allowed to give you credit for taking those classes. But that might not stop you from auditing those classes, right? Quite often, if you're interested, a professor will let you sit in on their class to learn. You don't get credit for it, but you get to learn, and as we know, especially at the graduate level, it's the learning that matters the most, right? You got to let go of that undergraduate GPA concern. I mean, it still matters, but it's the knowledge that you take with you from your graduate program that really makes the difference, because that's what impresses somebody who's going to hire you. That's what makes it possible for you to do good, effective work and to address the world's challenges. So if you choose not to do the thesis, you just basically have to take a couple of extra classes in your track. As I said, you can switch back, you can choose your track in the third semester, and you can even switch from development or commerce or IPS to Korean studies. But if this is something that you think might be something that you want to do, you have to plan ahead carefully, because the core requirements for Korean studies are distinctly different from those for the other tracks. Before I talk about them, one thing, if you are an international student, and to address again one of the questions, if you're an overseas Korean, you are counted and considered as an international student from our department. You can choose to take Korean classes or Korean studies classes, Korean classes about Korea as your area studies focus. If you're Korean, that's not something that you can do. So if you think that you might be interested in Korean studies, you can try to take some major electives in Korean studies, and then if you're an international student, and then perhaps switch over to one of the other tracks later on if you feel compelled to do so, and have your area studies covered. But the main differences, besides taking classes in the field, are a need for language classes, which if you can place out of those, you can just take additional elective classes, and that the core elective classes are different. And this is where you really have to plan ahead, because those 3 core classes that we're asking you to take should be taken in your first year in order to be able to take more advanced classes later on. And those classes here are Contemporary Korean Society and the Modern History of Korea. And the thesis track, again, just means that you take fewer classes and you write a thesis instead. At the PhD level, as I said, we're looking at some reforms here, but primarily we try to create a lot of opportunities for students to pursue independent study and to focus on their own unique interests, because at the graduate level, at the master's level, of course, you're beginning to focus on your own interests. But at the PhD level, you're absolutely obliged to pioneer something new, right? The whole goal of doing a PhD is to just bump forward the frontier of knowledge, right? It's not a big bump usually, but it requires your own. It requires you to focus on the questions and interests that are really unique to you. And let's see, I covered the rest of it. At present, we have to take 4 advanced seminars, which are typically offered in the evenings. And then in this case, you can take up to 6 credit classes from other universities or other KU graduate programs. Happy to answer any questions about these later on. What I would like to do now, though, is ask some of my colleagues to come up here and briefly introduce the tracks that we have, since they know them best, and some of the, very briefly, the professors who are involved in them. So first up is, you can come on up, the Assistant Dean for the College of International Studies, Professor Kwak.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Fuller. Okay, so it's nice to see you all. I guess you guys most interested in who are the faculty member in IC area and what the professors do and what they are supervising in terms of topics. And you might also interested in what will be the career choices, career that graduate students are engaging in. So I think so. Here there are lists of the topics for each professor. So broadly speaking, we have 5 faculty members specializing in the international cooperation at the multilateralism basis or the regionalism basis. So these are the main areas. So our faculty members study, and I think one of special characteristic of the studying international economics in our program is we emphasize practicality and the interdisciplinary and the relating to the area study. So, like for example, when a country considering international level cooperation, let's say in the semiconductor industry, then they consider beyond economic benefit and cost. They consider some security issues that goes beyond economic issues. So that in that area, it is worthy of studying interdisciplinary approach. And so each of professors specializing in some area, like for example, Professor Kim Jong-ho specializing in U.S. economy, and Professor Park Sung-hoon in EU area. Our dean is specializing in Asia or the East Asia area. Professor Bagyeon also specializing in Asian area. Professor Rolf interested in African area, and he also study in European country. He's from Germany. And so here is some topics that the recent graduate studied and make a publication. So like you can see some evaluating the trade policies between Asia and Korea. And also there are some study on global value chain and the foreign aid. And there are also studies that goes beyond typical commerce issues like the education and the human capital. Right. So and also there are another area is on the business and finance. So if you're interested, so recently, so the Korean government are interested in to train some expert on the digital trade area, digital technology area. So in that area, we are talking about some sort of e-commerce and some of the trade related to digital technology and the new regulation related to new technology. So you can also study on that topic. So, all right, so that's the brief introduction about our topics. So you can see some of the major courses that has been taught, and there's also some other papers that has been recently published as an outcome of master thesis or some of the study in our program.
Great, thanks so much. You can just, I don't know, the dance we do. Next is Professor Kyuwon, Kang, who is a expert in development, and will introduce our international development and cooperation track.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Kyuwon Kang. Welcome to GSIS. Let me introduce about IDC. One thing that I really want to emphasize and I have a pride on is that our faculty has expertise that encompasses the entire SDGs. So whatever topic you are interested in SDGs, we have faculty members who have specialization in that topic. And since those topics are highly interconnected and indivisible, you can combine different sectors and issues by taking various courses. So for example, you can combine education and gender to improve educational conditions by promoting gender, equal opportunities to access and learn for women. And also, whenever the students consult with me about their career development, I recommend them to choose either specific sector or topic. As a graduate student, you can wander around by taking many courses to find your interest of sector or region. because we offer courses of many different sectors like related with environment, water, climate change, energy, and we have gender courses, we have urban development courses, we have education courses. At the same time, we have courses related with region, America, Africa, and also Asia, especially East Asian courses. And in order to grow as an IDC expert, IDC expert, I think one needs to have both theoretical knowledge and practical experience. And we in GSIS offer you to obtain both. Students learn about major issues, trends, histories, theories related with IDC, but at the same time, students learn how to design, implement, and evaluate development policies and projects. And also, we provide many special lectures and seminars by world-renowned scholars. So it allows you to broaden your perspective and to understand deeply about current international issues. In addition, you can develop practical sense by participating in the internship that we provide and also projects and research that are led by our professors. So we aim to produce job-ready graduates. A number of our graduates work for public institutions, of course, like KWAK and Exim Bank, and other public institutions that provide ODA. And there are also a number of graduates who work for international organizations as JPO, Junior Professional Officer, and KMCO, KOICA Multilateral Cooperation Officer. And as the size of Korea's ODA is increasing, there are increasing number of consulting firms that you may be interested in. And also if you're interested in interacting with local people in the field, NGO may be a good option for you. So this is a brief introduction of IDC. So if you want to develop your expertise in IDC and become an attractive candidate in this job market, I'll see you next September. Thank you.
And arguably, we have what I think of as the strongest international development and cooperation faculty in Korea. Next on the list is International Peace and Security, which will be introduced by Professor Jung Kim, one of our newest professors, but no longer the newest.
Yeah, actually that's true. Thank you for your kind introduction. Hello everyone, my name is Kim Jung, and I'm here to introduce a little bit about International Peace and Security major here at GSIS. When it comes to international peace and security, it's unfortunate to say, but we are not living in that bright time period. There's ongoing war over Ukraine, where tens of thousands are being killed and millions are being displaced from their daily lives. And there's persisting danger of using military force over Taiwan, as long as China is committed to use deadly means against Taiwan when things don't go as it expects it to happen. And on the Korean Peninsula, we are living with a nuclear North Korea, which is quite willing to use force upon the challenges it is encountering in many different domains. So indeed, there are tragic and undesirable developments going on around the globe as well as on the Korean Peninsula. But these events would suggest that there's definitely a pressing need to better understand international peace and security. And at GSIS IPS program, we offer trainings to better understand the uses as well as occurrence of violence across national borders, as well as the strategies states can employ in trying to advance their important interests. And we offer both theoretical and empirical trainings to analyze diverse aspects of international peace and security. As we can see here, there are quite a number of faculty. Each of these faculty members specialize on important and interesting aspect of international security policy as well as theory. And therefore, whatever interest you might have, I think we can definitely cover them. In offering your trainings in diverse questions on international peace and security, different from traditional research on international politics, we focus on the complexities of our contemporary international security affairs, where the issues of economy, security, social, and you name it, are deeply intertwined. And we also pursue quite a clear policy relevance. So I strongly encourage you to join us and become producers of knowledge with impact. And, well, you'll be all fine.
Thank you. Thank you. Last but not least, some publications is the Assistant Dean for the Global Korean Studies Program, Professor Sijeong. When you do it backwards, I get confused.
Thank you. My name is Sijeong Lim. Thanks for your kind introduction. I am here to introduce you our last track, Area Studies and Korean Studies, but I will be very brief because you must have already noticed that these professors, most of them, you have seen them in previous slides, right? Except for a few, Professor Andrew Eun-gi Kim and Do-won Seo, who are the experts in Korean studies. The rest of professors, they appeared before, actually. This is because in our GSIS, you can be an expert in a specific geographical region, but at the same time, learn the theories and perspectives associated with one of the previous 3 tracks. These are international commerce, international peace and security, and international development and cooperation. So you can combine these thematic interests together with your geographical insights. Let me just introduce one of our brand new faculty as an example, Professor Park Son-kyung 교수님. She is a political scientist who studies comparative politics, the legacies of authoritarianism, but at the same time, she is an expert in Korean politics. So geographically, she specializes in understanding the political situations in Korea. So likewise, you can be an expert having lots of insight about a specific region that you research, but at the same time, you can also be a thematic specialist in one of the previous 3 regions. So that will be what you can plan to become when you join the KU GSIS. Thank you.
Yes, and you know, let me just say as a word to the wise, as far as career possibilities go, again, area studies used to be a strong way to get employed, but these days it's not the strong. Frankly, it's just not the strongest major to choose. It's important to have a regional specialization, but only to have a regional specialization is not quite the same, have the same value that it did in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So along with the area studies program, we have several centers for researching East Asian studies and the EU, the Jean Monnet Center, who can help support research in these areas. And I'll just note now, I know our professors are very busy, so if you need to move on to other work, you're free to move along. I'll take it from here. So what other opportunities are available to you if you come? When you come? Let's be more optimistic. Another way to add to your distinctive personal expertise is by obtaining certificates in particular regions or areas of concern. And we have these certificates: East Asia, Europe, human rights, Korean studies, risk management, and global conflict management. These basically require a GPA of over 4.0 out of 4.5 across 3 classes. So a couple of A pluses and a B plus, or a few A's and a B plus will be enough to get this. And so you can, if you're clever and plan ahead, as I'm sure you will, you can add these certificates. I think I even signed off on somebody who got 3 of these certificates this past semester. That's some careful planning. Or perhaps taking extra classes. We have a number of dual and exchange programs with other universities, right? The university at large has connections with many, many universities, and other graduate schools of international studies will advertise the sort of university level cooperation. And so it sounds like they've got, hundreds of programs you can go to. We also have that. But we have very close relations with the following universities here, to which we send students on a regular basis. So with American University, you can do a dual degree or an exchange semester. In that case, you would have to write 2 theses, I think. Although actually, maybe at American, you can get away without writing a thesis. Through our Campus Asia program, you can do a dual degree or an exchange semester at Kobe University in Japan or Fudan University in Shanghai, China. And for those dual degrees, you do have to write a couple of theses. We have just recently opened a dual degree program with SOAS at the university in London, the University of London, for a dual degree. That one, unfortunately, the tuition has to be paid both here and there. But we, at present, have been able to provide some generous support to make that manageable, and that, if you're interested in that program, we can explore it when the time comes. We also have exchange programs with Waseda University and the Diplomatic Academy of Vienna, and we are working on possibilities with the National University of Laos and University of Warsaw in one form or another. So we have these connections, we have these networks that you can leverage to expand your degree and, again, your unique qualifications. So we can send you all over the world to one of our friends. We also have a couple of graduate program on area studies. Oops, I think we've got an extra program in there. And there are 2 major ones. There's Southeast Asia and Europe. This is funded by the Korean Institute for Economic Policy, I think is the abbreviation. And these programs provide some scholarships. They provide special lectures. They support the student societies that are interested in this, some essay competitions, research projects, and workshops. They can also support your own research for your thesis if you're going to those areas, on a case-by-case basis. The Campus Asia program is now Campus Asia Plus, is cooperation between China, Japan, and Korea to foster connections, educational connections across East Asia. Our particular focus is on risk management, and I talked about the programs already. If you do get accepted choose to apply and get accepted to the Campus Asia program, which is available only to Korean students, I'm afraid, because the Korean government is paying for it. It covers tuition fees, some living expenses, airfare, and language training. Though, again, so there are some technicalities there. But the point is, there are these great opportunities both for student and faculty exchange through this program. We also have the EU Center and its program, which also helps provide support for research and activities related to the EU, including paper competitions. And the BK21 Global Conflict Resolution Program, which is one of our major programs at the moment, and provides quite a bit of support for study. through scholarships and speakers and other special activities. And basically the notion behind BK21, and this is something, the reason we're quite proud to have it here, it's that we're looking at the relationship between local problems, local conflict, and global conflict, right? As we know, increasingly, the problems that affect us locally are also global problems, and vice versa. And so this BK21 program is a way to try to look at that relationship between the local and the global. And it's really quite expansive, so it's quite easy to incorporate your own personal interests into this program. But if you have ideas where you can run it by us at a later time. We have other special programs. I will just talk a moment about the 3+2 program, since there was a question about this. This is for our undergraduates in the College of International Studies who want to sort of maximize their return on educational investment, a little economic speak for you. More bang for your buck, as they say. You can get the undergraduate degree and the master's degree in 5 years. And we just took on the first student, not the first student ever, but the first student for a little while this coming semester. And so we're kind of sorting it out, but more or less what happens is that you have to meet the requirements for the undergraduate degree, and then we try to leverage those to provide the coursework that you need and to meet the requirements of the master's degree. So you can do it in 5 years, and I think it's actually a really great and wise way to again maximize your educational investment in our program, if you are one of those students. We have a human rights program that also tries to train human rights experts and supports internships. The Center for Global Climate and Marine Governance program, which supports activities around these issues and supports RAs and what have you. So there's a lot of information here today, and I'm going through it in more detail than I usually do. A couple of things about internships. We do not guarantee that we will get you an internship, but we do have a fair network and connections among international and domestic organizations, research institutes, international organizations. We even have the UNDP Seoul Policy Center on the 4th floor right upstairs, who hire interns. And so we will try to help facilitate connections. We will advertise everything that comes to us through our various channels. But increasingly in our entrepreneurial societies, but especially at the graduate level, you have to be the one who goes out and does the legwork for these things, right? In graduate school, nobody spoon feeds you anymore. You have to know what it is you want to learn. You have to have the energy, the purpose, the drive to go out and get it. It's there. We offer it. We will help you. But it's up to you to make it happen for yourself. And that's one of the big differences here with grad school. But if you do, again, find some of these internships, we do have means to try to help support those activities. And somebody had asked if it's possible to do an internship while you study. And technically, yes, but not strongly recommended. Our regular course load is roughly 3 classes a semester. And you can do that and do an internship particularly if it's part-time. but it really is a very demanding schedule for yourself. So you really have to have a lot of energy or a lot of coffee to be able to pull that kind of thing off. What many students do, and what we encourage our students to do, is if you have a good internship, you take a semester off, do your internship, and then come back and work on your the rest of your degree. Or do that internship during the summer or the winter breaks. And one other side note is that we do not give credit for internships. So those are just CV builders for you. And we are also working on developing more internships domestically through our BK21 program. So we're almost to the student council there, but not yet, relax. So I know you all want to figure out how you can pay for your degree. If at least initially, other than some of the individual and unique scholarships, our core scholarships for academic performance and for BK21, you do not have to do anything special to apply for those. Those are evaluated based on your academic performance. And any of our internal evaluations for scholarships are based on those. There are some other scholarships that are listed on the website, and all of the requirements for that are listed there, including links, external links to be able to apply for those. We have almost 1 billion won available to Korean students total through a range of scholarships, many of which I've already mentioned, so I won't repeat it, but also through teaching assistantships and research assistantships. The research assistantships are based on individual professors' projects, and some of those, to address again one of the questions, do involve monitoring and evaluation of projects. But those programs are, and those opportunities are based on individual availability through individual professors' programs at the moment. International students have significantly more funding available to them, and that is why we do not allow international students to be teaching assistants. Not that we don't want you, but we're trying to be equitable here in spreading the resources that we do have around as much as possible. And these involve the same academic scholarships, some Korean government scholarships. Through our KWAK program, we have additional scholarships. BK21 and Campus Asia scholarships being the major sources. Do not count on the scholarships paying all of your expenses. They usually go towards tuition at some percentage of your tuition, depending on your academic performance. But we don't have additional funds to cover your living expenses. You might be able to combine a scholarship with a TA-ship or something like this, but typically scholarships go primarily towards tuition and research. Okay, now it's your turn. Right, just as important as what you learn from the professors and from your colleagues in your classes are the people you're going to meet, the friends you're going to make, the networks you're going to build that you're going to leverage throughout your career. And to talk a little bit about who those people are and how you can meet them, we have representatives from the Student Council for GSIS who will talk to you.
Thank you, Professor Porter. My name is Minjae. I'm the President of Student Council. Today, I'm going to talk about who we are and what we do, so let's get started. Basically, in KUGSI Student Council, we have 11 members, and those are global representations from different countries, not only Korea, but also Philippines, Germany, Italy, and Tunisia, and from different countries. We assist the GSI students in navigating life at Korea University by creating student events and programs. And also, we have a liaison between administration and student body. We have tons of thousands of events. The first thing was welcoming party, where you can meet people and get to know each other, and in the end, you can make friends there. And the second, campus tours. Since European youth students don't know much about campus life, we walked around and showed the buildings where you can study and get some food. We recently had a coffee social event where you can meet people from different majors. And if you want, you can talk with professors about, thesis or, job career. And we also provide students free coffees, which is the main reason why many people are joining. So feel free to join, We have events between Korea and Yonsei University. There is a matchup in soccer, baseball, basketball, and also we have inter-GSI events. We usually hike and go to picnic. So hopefully in the future, we expand these events and, with every GSI in Seoul. We are planning to have a career talk this semester. This time we invited UNV, which is United Nations Volunteers Program, and also we invited Korea Jung Daily. So hopefully students can gain information, and even after graduation, they can job here and to live in here. We have 4 different societies. First thing was Southeast Asia, and second, EU, and third, human rights, and fourth, climate change and sustainable development. If you're interested in certain areas, you can join the society and make a presentation, and also you can develop your knowledge on certain topic. And we also put a social media account of each society, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And also feel free to contact Student Council by email, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So hopefully we can meet you guys in the next upcoming semester. Thank you.
Thank you. And the Student Council is also really great about providing information and not necessarily direct assistance, but in trying to get settled here as well. They really play an important role in helping you figure out your daily lives sometimes here. So thank you very much. So once you get your degree, what can you do? What can't you do? Right? We've got, I'm not going to go through the list here, but we have, and this is since from about 2017 to 2022 or 2020, in a whole range of organizations around and firms all around the world. On the lower right, you can see that most of our students go to work for private firms or public institutions, and as well as NGOs and further education. So depending on your interests and your specialization, there are a lot of places you can go, and and we have people here, so if you are also interested, I'm making this up as I go along, but if you're interested in any of these kind of firms, we can try to put you in touch with your sunbae, your predecessors, to allow you to contact them to ask about these firms or what have you. I think we can do that. I know there are strong laws here about sharing personal information, so I'm not quite sure how that would play out in practice, but we're happy to try to be of assistance. We also, we just have people all over the UNFCCC. We have people working for the Federal Reserve Bank in the U.S. We have deputy country directors for KWAK. We have graduates who are working all over. So if you're going to apply, because I know you're going to apply, this is what you need to worry about, our timeline here. And let me just say again, if you are, let's see, if you're graduating now or whatever, you can still apply for next semester. So as long as you have your degree or a statement that says that you've completed the requirements for your degree before the semester starts, you can join us in a given semester. As a note. So the online submission starts next Monday, I think is the 10th, and lasts for 11 days to fill in the basic information. Please do it accurately, double check what you put in, because if you have to change things later, it can cause a lot of complications. You have an additional week to provide supporting documents, including recommendation letters if you're an international student. They're optional for Korean students, but international students have to have a recommendation letter. And so if you don't have one already, you want to be asking quickly and providing a lot of useful information for them to write those. It's not easy to do these things, or at least to do a good one. And in case you're not familiar with the way Korea works, Korea is very detail-oriented as far as documentation goes. So you really need to have all of those official documents. Don't send us originals. Send us, certified apostille copies. I forget. I don't know how it works. I haven't had to do this for a while, thank God. But anyway, otherwise legally verified copies of your documents, because we will not give back, because we're not able to give back the documents that you provide to us in an application. For those applicants who are successful, the Korean applicants, we will have interviews on Saturday, May 13th. And that may also apply to some international PhD applicants. Not always necessary. The international students we don't typically interview. And there were some questions about the requirements for and the way that the evaluation takes place. We try to do a comprehensive evaluation of your educational background and performance, your statement of purpose, and the recommendation letters. We try to end your English ability to be able to survive here. So we try to be holistic about this. So if you're weak in one spot, your strengths in other areas can compensate. And so, so there's that. But if you are, but I'll give you a few extra application tips, which not only will help you, but will also make our job easier and more interesting. You should definitely request any documents and recommendation letters as soon as possible, because it does take time for people to do this. I have my own personal website with some suggestions here. You might want to take a quick screenshot of that, or perhaps they can send it in the chat now. That will tell you some of the information that you should provide to people that you're asking a recommendation letter for, because you need to provide them with a little bit of a package. But really, as far as standing out and being somebody that interests us as a potential student, it's your statement of purpose that matters the most, right? So, there's a sort of traditional Korean obligation to say in your statement of purpose that you're diligent and hardworking and committed. Don't tell us that. We know. We know. You're applying for a graduate degree. You don't need to tell us that. What we do want to know is, again, not material that's elsewhere in your application packet. We know, we can see your job history. We can see your educational history. So don't tell us about those details unless they contribute to what is most important, which is what makes you unique, what makes you interesting, and what it is you want to do with your degree, right? So really what we want to see in your statement of purpose is more or less how you've come to where you are and why you want to study, and most particularly what it is you want to learn and get out of the program. And I recognize, because I've also sort of been there as a master's student, maybe you're not quite sure what you want to get out of it. Fake it. A little secret from me to you. It doesn't have to be incredibly detailed or what have you, but you really, and if you're doing a graduate degree, you should have some idea of the kind of things that concern you. So feel free to sort of artificially narrow that down and make it a little more concrete than perhaps you're thinking now. We know when you come to do a master's degree or a PhD degree that your interests are going to shift while you're here. That's the whole point of taking classes, getting an education, is to expose you to new ideas, new interests, new possibilities. So we know it's going to shift, but give us a sense of what it is that you think you want to do. That's like the most important thing. So do that. Oops, I just can't seem to push the right one. And so we hope you will fill those out and that you will join us in addressing the global challenges that we need to address if we're going to make it past the next couple of decades. You can connect with us through any of these media forums. Our website has a wealth of information. We have official Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channels where you can find information, including soon a copy of this presentation. And so get your click farm going. And with that, I thank you for coming, and I am, on behalf of myself and my colleagues who have sat through my overly winded, talkative ways, but I will take any questions that you might have to follow up if I haven't answered them already. So thank you for coming today. Anything I haven't addressed? Anything? No, we've taken care of all of them. Oops. Oh boy. You think I'd be better at this than I am now, huh? Where are we? Oops. The share thing isn't showing up. Nobody here? Ah, there we go. There we go. Chatting. Ding. Let's see. Do you need to reach out to a specific Korea university professor to show your academic interest? No, no, but certainly at the master's level, that's not required in any sort of way. At the PhD level, it's important for you as an applicant to any program to develop some familiarity with the faculty to see if they're doing things that interest you. And if they are, then it's not a bad thing to connect with them, but it's also certainly not necessary. We're again looking primarily at what you have done and what it is you want to do. One thing, there's another question that was in the Q&A or the online questions is what are the sorry, I've forgotten. Spaced it. It's been a long morning already. I haven't had my lunch. You all got to eat those sandwiches. I'm like running on that bagel that I had at 7 a.m. Qualifications for the doctoral degree program, right? So, again, we're looking at your sort of comprehensive picture, but one of the curious things about PhD programs is that it also has to be something with your interests matching the interests of the faculty, right? So the master's level, it's really quite Catholic in the lowercase c notion of being quite broad and open-ended. At the PhD level, it's still, the topics and interests are quite open, but not only do you have to be good, but it has to be something that fits in, that we believe fits into our program as a whole. So it is oftentimes, and it always hurts a little bit, that we have like really excellent candidates, but we don't have somebody that can work with them and help that person do what they need to do. So at the PhD level, there is this other narrower qualification. And there's this question about how many we will accept this semester. It looks like up to 6 students this semester. We've recently increased the number of PhD students that we can accept. So that we're looking at 6 for this semester. Let's see. Yeah. Kim Minjae Sonsengnim has done an excellent job of answering all of the chat questions, so I'm not going to cover those unless anybody here repeats them. Let's see. Yeah, it's all, many of these are these technical issues that I don't even know the answer to. She's the expert. She and Kim Sang-in Sonsengnim are the people who know all of this stuff, and they will help you if you email them. You do not have to choose the thesis or non-thesis track during the admissions process. Again, that decision is made as you go into the 3rd semester. Anything else that I've missed that perhaps anyone here? I'm always available by email or whatever if you have additional follow-up questions. Let's see, more information on the modules and classes. Oh, that's the Sugang. Again, if you, I'm going to shortcut because I'm lazy, but if you go to my website, cuzproduces.com, I mean, if we haven't put it in there yet, I'll type it right now. There is a link. It's in there? Oh, well, don't use the Korean address there. That's not going to get you very far. Cuzproduces.com. There is a link. Oh, there it is. You guys are faster than me. If you click this link, you can see the classes that are offered by semester, and it's really good to look at those. And it'll come up with a nice list of classes. If you click the course number, not any other part of the list, I don't know why, but if you click the course number, additional information about the class will come up, and you can scroll down and you should be able to view a syllabus for the class. So you can see these things in a great deal of detail. And again, I can't guarantee you that we offer every class every semester. We try to cycle through these things to make sure that you have as wide a variety of courses possible. Let's see. Yeah, so we don't, personally, I'm not thrilled with the way our scholarship system works, but that's a personal thing. We do not offer we cannot guarantee a particular amount, especially in the first semester or throughout your career here. It really is a semester by semester competitive-based scholarship system, at least for the academic scholarship. So you unfortunately you have to compete with your peers to best them, the sort of scholarship Hunger Games, or what is it? What's the Korean one? What? Squid Game, thank you. Scholarship Squid Game. No, I mean, but we do try to spread them out as much as possible, and I think certainly Korean students in general tend to be able to get some sort of scholarship, and I think roughly half of our international students wind up with some form of scholarship or other, to be completely frank. Anything else? What? There is more? What did I miss? What? Up. The last one. MA and PhD are different in time and effort to gain the degree. Can we share how PhD life is like in our school and the job prospects of acquiring a PhD? It's great. So the PhD program here, again, we're sort of going through a little bit of transition. Our PhD program has traditionally been focused on people who do work and study, and so most of the classes have been available at night. And so because people are working and studying at the same time, I think that reduces the amount of social activity that they're just physically capable of participating in compared to the master's students who are like out drinking every day. I don't know. I'm making that up. There was a little knowing wink over there. Maybe it's just the student council. Maybe it's a requirement to become student council. But no. So it can be difficult at that level, but we are trying to encourage more full-time PhD students and to try to open up that activity quite a bit. And I'm very pleased to say that just this semester, some of the more enterprising PhD students have started their own sort of informal brown bag meeting, or sort of kind of like a club where they get together and discuss papers or each other's work over lunch or something like this. And we're looking to try to increase the viability and success of that. And of course, there's lots of job prospects once you've got a PhD. Again, that's contingent on the individual and the individual's interests, right? There are a lot of factors that go into that, but I'd be happy to talk to you if you want to email me further with some more concrete details that you might be worrying about. Does the recommendation letter have to be from a professor? No. You can ask a previous boss. You can ask your mom. You can, don't. I mean, we know she's going to say nice things for most of you. But it really should be somebody who knows you in an educational or professional capacity. But it definitely doesn't have to be a professor. All right. I think with this, we'll wrap up. And again, I am available by email. Oops. And the Miss Kims are available through the GSIS at korea.ac.kr email address if you have technical questions, right? So if you have questions about the technical aspects of applying or what have you, contact them. If you have broader questions about the academics or the programs and whatnot, contact me. And with that, again, thank you for coming, and we really, really hope we see you in September. Thank you.